You only have to wait 2 days this time. So, yeah, improvement. So anyway, let's get into Matthew. All right, just for a refresher, we're doing it from the English Standard Version because that's my hard copy version. So currently we're up to Matthew 5, and so it starts with the Sermon on the Mount. Seeing the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and when he sat down, his disciples came to him. The Beatitudes? He opened his mouth and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when others revile you, and revile you and prosecute you, and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for they prosecute the prophets who were before you. Salt and light. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light all the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. Christ came to fulfill the law. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not an iota, not a drop shall pass from the law, until it is all accomplished. Therefore, whoever relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Anger. You have heard it said by those of old, "You shall not murder." However, murderers will be liable to judgment. But I say to you, everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to counsel. Whoever says "you fool" will be liable to the hell of fire. So, if you are offering your gift at the altar and remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled with your brother, then come and offer your gift. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you are going with him to court, lest your accuser hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you be put in prison. Truly I say to you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny. Lust. You have heard it was said, "You shall not commit adultery." But I say to you, anyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. For it is better you lose one of your members than your whole body be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better to lose one of your members than your whole body go into hell. Divorce. It is also said, whoever divorces his wife shall let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you, everyone who divorces his wife, except on the ground of sexual immorality, makes her commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Oaths. Again you have heard it was said, those of old, "You shall not swear falsely, but shall perform to the Lord that you have sworn." But I say to you, do not take an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by earth, for it is his footstool, and by Jerusalem, for it is the city of a great king. Do not take an oath by your hand, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let what you say simply be yes or no. Nothing more comes than this comes from evil. Retaliation. You have heard it said, "An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth." But I will say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn him the other also. And if anyone would sue you, take your tunic and let him have your cloak as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give the one who begs from you, and do not refuse the one who would borrow from you. You love your enemies. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on evil and on good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Not even the tax collector. Do not even the tax collectors do the same? If you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing for others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? Therefore you must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Okay, that was a long one. That was a lot. There's a lot in there. Some of it's probably metaphor, but some of it's not. And it's a heavy one. And it's one they don't normally give to newbies coming in. But it's one I think we need to understand. And we need to understand why these were written and what they mean. And I think it's about the idea of like, all of these are sins. But the thing is, we've already committed, and it's kind of in a way saying we've already all committed the sin. It's impossible to be perfect. Because later on, it'll say we've all been forgiven of sins. But the thing is, once we've been forgiven of those sins, we can still technically continue on outwards doing the same thing. But it's also, it's calling us to a high standard. It's a standard that we will never meet. We will never be able to complete this. But if truly we were able to do this, all of this, if everyone on earth was able to do this, to hold this standard, how much better would the world be? Wouldn't the world be freaking amazing if that, like, all these laws were upheld? All of them. But they're not. And we can't. We cannot. We're human, we're broken, we're flawed and faulty. But the only thing is, we can strive for this. It's one of the reasons why they don't give this to new Christians, because it's like, this is the ideal. You're never going to get the ideal. And a lot of people don't like thinking about that. But I kind of do, because it kind of shows that Christianity in a way is an aspirational faith. It's trying to be the best you can be all the goodness in the world, be better than you were before. It's not asking you to be perfect from the first go, it's asking you to be better all the time, constantly. And I think there's something, honestly amazing about that. It doesn't want you to settle for mediocrity. It doesn't want you to settle just being kind of okay or being kind of nice. It wants you to go all out, all the way, all the time. And it's hard, and it's a long process, and it's not something you'll get instantly, and it's not something that'll come overnight. And it might not even take you. It might even take you It's not even probably going to take you 5 years. It's a lifelong process that you need to constantly work at. And what happens is a lot of Christians, they get 10 years in and they just kind of fall into a pattern and they don't stop. One of the reasons I like my church so much is it's always trying to challenge you to do better. And as a church, we are actually doing better, and I think that's great. It encourages the fact that this is the ideal aspirational. This is what you're aiming for, but you're probably not going to get it. Not for a long time. And it's asking us to do things that are scary and uncommon, but they're worth it. So, yep, hopefully I'll do this tomorrow. Bye!